Video we will go through the mobility movements as part of your preparation for your resistance training program. The Cobra movement focuses on spinal extension through your lower and middle of your back. Breathe out as you extend up through your arms. Make sure your glutes are not active, your hips are on the floor and your shoulder blades are down in your back pocket. The open and close book movement works on rotational mobility of the spine. Make sure your hips and shoulders are stacked on top of each other when laying on your side. Breathe out as you rotate your top arm up and around, opening the book, turning your head and leading with your eyes. Keep your hips stacked at all times when opening and closing the book. The cat-cow movement works on both spinal extension and spinal flexion. Exaggerate spinal extension by tilting your pelvis forward, dropping your belly button down towards the floor whilst looking upwards, and drawing your shoulder blades together. Immediately transition to flexion by tilting your pelvis backwards, rounding out through your spine, and pushing through your arms so your shoulder blades are drawn out and around. Thread the needle encompasses dynamic rotation of the spine, upper back and the chest. From a 4-point kneeling position, reach under and around your body as far as possible. Draw your arm back out of the hole, reaching out and rotating your torso around. Lead the rotation with your eyes in your head until you are fully rotated out and up. The yoga lunge hold is a great hip opener. Set up in a long lunge with your back knee off the floor and leg fully extended. Rotate your torso towards the inside of your front knee, fully extending the arm upwards and looking up towards the ceiling. Whilst in this position, take 5 deep stomach breaths. Work your hips down into a deeper stretch with every outward breath. 4-point hip thruster is a very dynamic movement to open up your chest and your shoulders. In a seated position, stabilizing with your arms, drive your hips upwards into a full bridge position. Screw your hands down into the floor to rotate your shoulders out and down into your back. This will create a greater stretch anteriorly across your chest and your shoulders. This next section goes through movements that will activate the muscles you're about to use in your training program. Single leg hip thrust will activate the posterior chain muscles, your glutes and hamstrings, and being offset or unstable with one leg will force you to keep your core active and braced to maintain a square pelvis. This transfers nicely into double leg hip thrusts, where you can focus on more reps and quality of movement, driving your hips up through your heels to full extension, enabling a stronger glute contraction. The air squat. This bilateral movement will specifically enable you to activate your hip and leg muscles safely through a full range of movement. Remember to keep your torso upright and push your knees out. The single leg aeroplane is a great single leg hinge pattern that will activate your glutes while forcing you to co-contract and stabilize your lower leg muscles, hips and your core. Push through the heel of your back leg to exaggerate the hinge movement and glute activation.